After marrying a wealthy man, the girl endured daily domestic violence. She was too afraid to resist her abusive husband. Her husband would pretend to kiss her, then slap her across the face. Next, Tyler would grab his wife by the hair and throw her out of the room. Their son hid by the door, covering his ears with his hands. When Tyler noticed his son watching, he immediately switched to acting like a caring father. He told the boy they were just playing a game, but the son knew this scene played out every single day. Mina held her son tightly in her arms. Mother and child huddled together in the corner. For 8 years, Mina had silently endured the abuse. Every time she tried to escape with her son, the bodyguards dragged them back. Though modern technology was everywhere, Mina wasn't even allowed to own a phone. Every call she made or received was handed to her by a maid. But this time, Mina saw an opportunity. Tyler was hosting a dinner for a family friend that night. He ordered Mina to cover the bruises on her face. She also had to act like a devoted wife from a happy family. Mina returned to her room and changed into an elegant dress. Then she applied thick layers of makeup to hide her injuries. And so, the family stepped out, pretending everything was perfect. When Matt glanced at Mina, his eyes lingered a moment too long. Tyler introduced Mina to his guests. Mina stepped forward politely and shook hands with everyone. But when she shook Matt's hand, he noticed the bruises on her wrist. Mina glanced nervously at her husband. Luckily, he hadn't seen. She quickly pulled her hand back and invited everyone to dine. At the table, a little girl boasted to Tony about all the places she had traveled. Tony, who hadn't left the house in 8 years, looked at his parents, unsure how to respond. He could only nod along with whatever his father said. Feeling upset, Tony walked away but accidentally knocked over an expensive crystal glass. Tyler stood up. Furious, Matt quickly stepped in to calm the child. Mina rushed over to comfort her son, but as she did, another bruise on her arm became visible to Matt. Noticing the exchange, Tyler's expression darkened. Mina quickly took her son upstairs. Tyler followed, dragged her back into the room, and threw her onto the bed. He couldn't stand the idea of Mina interacting with other men. He twisted her fingers, covered her mouth, and bent her hand back violently. He warned Mina that he would continue the punishment after the guests left. Downstairs, Tyler resumed his role as the perfect husband. Meanwhile, Mina slipped into the bathroom alone. She used a makeup pencil to splint her injured finger. Then she wrapped it tightly with bandages. The pain was excruciating, but she didn't make a sound. When she was done, Mina stared at her reflection. This time, she decided she would not endure anymore. She went back to her room, gathered a few clothes, and quietly led her son downstairs. She knew if she didn't escape tonight, she might never get another chance. Under the cover of darkness, she hid behind Matt's car. She pulled at the trunk latch again and again until it finally opened. Just then, Matt stopped the car. Mina quickly lifted her son into the trunk. It turned out Matt had stopped to confront Tyler. He had seen the bruises on Mina's hands at the dinner. Tyler lied, claiming Mina had been hurt by a thief. While the two men were talking, Mina climbed into the trunk unnoticed. When Matt got no answers, he drove away. And just like that, Mina escaped the villa that had been her prison for 8 years. After Matt's car left, Tyler returned to look for Mina. He knocked again and again, but there was no answer. He apologized through the door and begged her to open it. Fortunately, his sister arrived and stopped him from breaking it down, but Tyler couldn't stand being locked out. That night, for the first time in years, Mina slept peacefully. By morning, Tyler was knocking once more. When no one answered, he broke the door down. He discovered Mina and the boy were gone. Tyler stormed downstairs and confronted the housekeeper. The housekeeper insisted escape was impossible. The villa was completely guarded. He suggested Mina must still be hiding somewhere inside, so the search began. Meanwhile, Matt arrived home and opened his trunk and was stunned by what he saw. The sight of Mina's injured hands told him everything. He decided then that he would help her escape the abuse. But first, her fingers needed medical care. Back at the villa, Tyler's sister mentioned the evening's events. She was sure Matt had taken Mina, so Tyler gathered his men and set out to find them. Matt brought Mina to a well-known local doctor. He reassured her that she was safe now. The doctor said she was lucky to have treated her fingers in time, otherwise she might have lost them. Removing the bandages was extremely painful. Mina trembled but didn't make a sound. Matt's heart ached as he watched. The doctor warned that resetting the bones would be even more painful, and told Mina it was okay to cry out. But Mina bit down on her shirt. shaking uncontrollably in silence. The doctor splinted her fingers with a small wooden rod. He instructed her to return the next day to change the bandages. But Mina was desperate to leave. She knew Tyler's men could find them at any moment. Matt insisted her treatment couldn't wait. Thinking of her hungry son, Mina agreed to stay one more night. Soon, they arrived at the seaside. Tony, who had never seen the ocean before, was thrilled. For the first time, Mina finally relaxed. In that moment, mother and son were truly happy. Matt brought them back to his home, but his younger brother warned him not to get involved. Everyone knew Tyler was a dangerous man, and no one crossed him. Helping Mina could ruin their family's reputation and put them all at risk. Mina overheard the argument and prepared to leave, but Matt stopped her and promised he would see this through. He had always wondered about Mina's relationship with Tyler. Now, he asked her what had really happened. Mina confessed she had been kept under constant watch. Her mother had pushed her to marry into a rich family. At just 16, she was given to Tyler. Over the next 8 years, she tried repeatedly to run but was always caught. Any sign of resistance led to a severe beating. Hearing her story left Matt deeply troubled. He knew words alone weren't enough to help her. That night, back at Matt's house, Mina feared she was putting him in danger. She packed her things and tried to take her son away, but just as she was leaving, Matt stopped her again. Late that night, neither could sleep. They both stepped outside at the same time. Matt walked up to her, and their eyes met. In the quiet, they could hear only each other's heartbeat, but the moment was shattered when Tyler and his men arrived. His shouts filled Mina with terror. As his men surrounded the house, she was paralyzed with fear. She knew if she was caught this time, she would be killed. Matt told her to stay calm and let him handle it. He hid Mina in a room and made her promise not to come out. Matt's older brother soon intervened, demanding that Matt hand Mina over, but Matt refused. Tyler pounded on the door relentlessly. Matt stood ready and finally opened it. Tyler burst inside without a word. Tensions rose instantly until Matt's mother stepped in. Respecting the long-standing ties between their families, she allowed Tyler to search upstairs, but Mina was no longer in the room. Tyler and his men stormed into the forest behind the house. Matt tried to follow, but his brother held him back. His mother begged him not to do anything reckless. Tyler had eyes and influence everywhere. Going after him was suicide. Frustrated, his brother punched him, but nothing could change Matt's mind. He was determined to save Mina. Knowing the area well, Matt raced to find Mina before Tyler could. He searched through the night and finally spotted her at dawn, but Tyler's men had also tracked her down. Matt scooped up Tony and told Mina to run, yet Tyler was already closing in. There was no way out. Tyler aimed a gun at Matt and demanded he hand Mina over. Step by step, he forced them toward the edge of a cliff. Matt looked down at the raging sea below. Even a 100-meter drop wouldn't stop him from protecting Mina. Tyler laughed, asking how one man could stand against dozens. Just then, Matt's brothers arrived and begged him to stand down, but Matt would not back down. He turned to Mina and asked, "Do you trust me?" Her answer was firm and sure. Together, they leaped into the icy waters below. The impact knocked Mina unconscious. The currents pulled them apart. Matt managed to bring the child to shore first. Then he dove back into the sea to find Mina. On his third attempt, he spotted her among the dark rocks. By then, Tyler and his men were rushing down from the cliffs. Matt pulled Mina onto the beach as Tony cried out for his mother. Tyler's men had reached the shore, but Mina wasn't breathing. Tony called to her again and again. Exhausted and desperate, Matt started CPR. Finally, it worked. Mina coughed up seawater and drew a breath. Tony shouted, "Mom's alive." His voice carried across the water, and Tyler heard it. He knew they were still alive and raced toward the sound, but when he reached the rocky shore, he found no one. He ordered his men to spread out and search. Matt had hidden with Mina and Tony in a narrow crevice between the rocks. Tyler's men were so close they could hear their footsteps. Neither Matt nor Mina dared to make a sound. Nearby, Matt's younger brothers noticed the child's shoe peeking out from the rocks. Realizing they were safe, they felt a wave of relief. But with Tyler's men so near, they had to act. One brother grabbed the shoe and rushed out, starting a fight. They were quickly overpowered. Tyler closed in with more men. Knowing his son was alive, he ordered a wider search. Matt brought Mina to a friend's house. He knew they couldn't stay long. Mina's finger was becoming infected. They hitched a ride on a tractor to find a doctor. By then, Tyler's search had moved from the coast to the town. When Matt and Mina reached the clinic, he collected all the shoes at the entrance to avoid leaving traces. The doctor unwrapped Mina's bandages and found the wound had festered. He He asked how she could bear the pain for so long. Tears streamed down Mina's face as memories of the abuse flooded back. Matt couldn't bear to see her in such pain and gently stopped the doctor. The doctor admitted her injury was beyond his skill, but Mina knew Tyler's influence reached every hospital. She'd be reported within minutes. She never wanted to return to that house of despair. Matt promised her he would find a way. Soon, Tyler and his men located the town. They captured the wife of Matt's friend while she was hanging laundry. Then they beat the man who had helped Mina. They surrounded the yard and threatened the family for information. Even an elderly man returning from the clinic was taken. A bone specialist arrived. She was the sister of Matt's former fiancé. After a brief examination, she fitted Mina's fingers with a splint and cast. She warned that while this was a temporary solution, Mina needed proper hospital care. That night, Tyler arrived with a large group of men. The elderly man's family was taken hostage. Under pressure, he revealed Mina's hiding place. Tyler stormed the clinic, but Mina was already gone. Matt had taken her to an empty house nearby. After putting Tony to sleep, they stepped into the yard. Matt carefully checked Mina's injury. The pain sent her back into memories she had tried to forget. 8 years earlier, Mina had been an innocent teenager. Her parents were determined to marry her into wealth. Tyler was captivated by her at first sight. Her mother told her father to accept any offer, no matter how small. And so, Mina was sent off to a life of luxury that became a prison. Instead of happiness, she faced endless violence. Every day was filled with pain and despair. Remembering it all, Mina broke down. Matt stayed by her side, comforting her. Furious and humiliated, Tyler tortured the doctor for information, but the doctor would rather die than betray Mina. Then Tyler's sister, Emma, arrived. She had a plan to force Mina into the open, because their families had business ties, and Matt's family had recently taken a loan to buy a new ship. Emma went to Matt's older brother, Andy. She threatened to withhold payment on a joint project, which would ruin them with debt, but Andy refused to be intimidated. Out in the forest, Matt comforted Mina and urged her not to dwell on the past. When they returned, he gently washed her feet. In that moment, something between them shifted. For the first time in 8 years, Mina felt warmth and hope. The next day, her finger had worsened. Without a hospital visit, she could lose it. Matt insisted on taking her, but Mina was terrified of being caught and returned to her old life. Matt warned that further delay could lead to amputation. Mina agreed to go, but only after dark, to reduce the risk. When Andy found the doctor, he was lying in bed, barely alive. The doctor was also his father-in-law. Neither of them had expected Tyler to harm an old man. Andy urged him to reveal Matt's location. The doctor's daughter nodded in silent permission. With the information in hand, Andy drove off immediately, but he had underestimated Tyler. His men were already waiting. As soon as Tyler got the news, he set his plan in motion. That evening, Matt and Mina went for a walk in the woods. For a moment, a smile returned to Mina's face. Even Tony began to laugh and play. None of them knew danger was approaching. At the same time, Matt's brother learned what was happening and rushed to help. Mina had prepared a warm dinner for everyone. After they ate, Matt said it was time to go to the hospital. Just then, Andy arrived, but so did Tyler's men. Andy was quickly overpowered. Inside, unaware of the threat outside, Matt prepared to leave. Mina's injury flared up again. Tony asked, "Does it hurt, Mom?" Mina bravely shook her head. Outside, a large group was moving into position. Tyler had his men surround the house, but Matt sensed something was wrong. Mina grew tense. A knock came at the door. Matt signaled for silence. Then they heard Tyler's voice, demanding Mina come out. Matt knew he would have to fight to protect them. With his gun drawn, he slowly opened the door. Exchanging one last look with Mina, the woman he was ready to die for, he pulled the door open, his eyes sharp and full of rage. But to his surprise, it was Andy's wife standing outside. Tyler ordered his men to break down the door, but the house was empty and dark. The doctor had given Andy a false address, knowing his temper would only make things worse. His trick had saved them for now, but Andy wasn't as lucky. He had been shot, and Tyler was stepping on his wound. In agony, Andy cried out. Tyler demanded to know where Matt was. Just then, Matt's younger brothers burst in and charged at Tyler's men. They were quickly beaten and captured. Tyler threatened to bring their whole family there if they didn't cooperate. When Matt learned the doctor had been tortured for helping them, he grabbed his gun, ready for revenge. But Mina, who had come to rely on him, couldn't let him take the risk. When he wouldn't listen, she knocked him out with a metal bucket. The next morning, Matt woke to find Mina watching him with an apologetic look, but all he cared about was her injured hand. He was determined to take her to the hospital. When she resisted, he lifted her onto his shoulder. Then, thinking of the child, he gently put her down again. Mina asked him, "Why are you so good to me?" He replied, "A real man protects those in need." Just then, his injured younger brother found him with urgent news. Andy had been shot and tortured. Panic swept through Matt. Mina begged him to let her go, but Matt held her firmly and said, "You are the one I want to protect. Don't give up on yourself. I won't let that monster win." Mina didn't understand why he cared so much. What she didn't know was that Matt was already engaged. Now, Matt prepared for what came next. His mission was just beginning, but before he started, he had one important task: get Mina to a hospital. He laid a careful plan. First, he showed himself at the hospital entrance to draw out Tyler's lookouts. As they moved to report, Matt's brothers moved in and restrained them. Then, in the parking lot, they seized phones from another group of watchers. Once the area was secure, Matt brought Mina inside. He went to the back of the hospital and instructed his brothers to take the captured men to the yard. He would deal with them later. When he returned to Mina's side, the sight of her suffering filled him with grief. No one knew how many times she had been hurt before. Each new discovery broke his heart a little more. For now, Mina was safe. Matt left for the yard, ready to release his rage. He confronted Tyler's top enforcer, demanding to know how they could be so cruel. After dealing with him, Matt gathered his men. Meanwhile, Andy was still held captive, a chain around his neck. Even then, he refused to give up Mina. Tyler, enraged by his defiance, jabbed a wooden rod into his wound. Andy endured the pain without a sound. Then one of Tyler's men announced that his sister Emma had arrived. She feared her brother's actions would bring disaster from the law or from fate. A major incident would surely draw police attention. After all, their families had been connected for years. But Tyler would not listen. He told his sister to stay out of his affairs. Matt arranged for his brother to take Mina back to his own home. There, Matt's mother treated Mina with clear disapproval. In his effort to protect Mina, Matt had also been neglecting his own fiancée. And now, that fiancée had returned to town. Under the cover of night, Matt and his brothers moved quietly through the shadows. They located and neutralized all of Tyler's lookouts. Then they headed for the cabin where their older brother was being held, but they were too late. Matt realized in an instant that it was a trap. Just as they ducked, bullets whizzed past their heads. Tyler's men had surrounded the cabin. Matt and his group fought back fiercely, but they were heavily outnumbered. Soon, they ran out of ammunition. Matt's mother turned on Mina in a rage. "This is all your fault," she shouted. "Matt has his own fiancée. You bring nothing but misfortune." Before long, Matt and his brothers were captured. Tyler pressed a gun to Matt's head. "Any last words?" he demanded, but Matt had already accepted his fate. Just as Tyler was about to pull the trigger, one of his own men rushed in to stop him. "Your sister Emma, she's been taken by Andy," Tyler cursed furiously. Meanwhile, Andy and Emma had reached an understanding. Andy knew a secret about Tyler, one that could destroy his family's power. Emma, hoping to prevent further disaster, handed Andy a photo. It showed Mina embracing another man during her marriage. Emma lied, insisting that Mina's behavior was the real cause of Tyler's violent temper. Later, at Matt's home, Andy explained the situation. "Tyler only let you live because I made a deal with Emma," he told Matt. "The condition was that Mina and her son must return home." Andy warned Matt that Mina was manipulative and not worth risking his life for. As Emma joined in, criticizing Mina, Matt cut her off sharply. Then Andy showed Matt the photo. Matt looked at the image, then turned to Mina for the truth. Mina explained that a kind-hearted guard had once taken pity on her. He offered to help her escape. Alone and desperate, she had agreed. But from what she could tell now, that guard was likely dead. Emma continued to sow doubt. "Matt can only protect you for so long," she told Mina, though Matt vowed to keep Mina safe. She couldn't bear the thought of him sharing the guard's fate. Even from prison, Tyler's influence reached far. He would be free soon. She refused to put Matt in more danger, so Mina confirmed that she had been involved with the guard. A smug smile spread across Emma's face. Her trick had worked. Matt searched Mina's eyes, wanting the full truth. He still refused to send her back to hell. Then Andy proposed a solution. He would send Mina abroad and provide her with a new identity. At the same time, Matt's business was struggling with debt after cutting ties with Tyler's family. His older brother insisted that Matt marry his fiancée to secure a family alliance. Under his mother's pressure, Matt finally agreed and asked for the wedding to be arranged quickly. The next day, Matt took Mina and Tony out on a boat, fulfilling a promise he had made to the boy. But Mina broke down in tears. What was done could not be undone. To Matt, it no longer mattered whether Mina deserved sympathy, he only wanted her to be safe. Soon, Matt's wedding day arrived. From an upstairs window, Mina watched him leave, her heart aching. Matt glanced back once more before he went. The ceremony at his fiancée's home was simple and rushed. In the eyes of their families, Matt and his bride were now married, but his new wife could see his mind was elsewhere. Alone in her room, Mina looked again at the photo. The truth behind it remained hidden. The man in the picture was not her lover, he was her brother. In his prison cell, Tyler received a visitor, Mina. Seeing she was serious, his attitude softened. He promised to spare Matt if Mina put down the gun. But Mina replied, "I know you will never let him live." She then revealed the truth. She had borne Tyler a child. It was her love for her son that had kept her silent all those years. No matter how cruel Tyler became, she never fought back. The man in the photo was her younger brother. They had met in the woods to plan her escape. When Mina finally got away, the truth was soon discovered. Emma found her and told her Tyler had captured her brother. So Mina returned. She begged Tyler to let her brother go, but the look Tyler gave his men told her everything. She knew her brother's life was in grave danger. This time, she would not believe Tyler's lies. She knew that if she left, he would take revenge on Matt. The only way to save Matt was to end Tyler's life. But as she pulled the trigger, a strong hand gripped the gun. She turned, it was Matt. A neighbor had seen Mina heading to the prison and alerted Matt. He rushed over just in time. If he hadn't, Mina might have ended up in a cell herself. But his sudden departure ruined the wedding, embarrassing both families. Matt's family left quickly, making excuses, unable to watch Matt suffer for her sake. Mina finally told him about the man in the photo. "He helped me escape," she said, "but Tyler found him and shot him. Since then, I've had no one." Still, she did not tell Matt the man was her brother. Though Matt felt deep sympathy for Mina and was determined to protect her, he was moved to learn she had been willing to kill Tyler for him. Yet it seemed he could do nothing as she prepared to leave. Andy soon secured money for Mina's new life abroad. As Tony played in the hall, the photo fell from his pocket. A little girl asked who it was. "My uncle," Tony said. "I haven't seen him in a long time." Andy's wife overheard and pulled Mina aside, asking for the truth. Mina explained she had kept the secret to protect Matt. She didn't want to burden him further. If he knew, he would never let her go. All Andy's wife could do was offer quiet comfort. When the boat arrived to take Mina away, Tony clung to Matt, unwilling to leave. Before she boarded, Matt gave Mina a mobile phone, her first in 8 years. He made her promise to call when she arrived safely, though their hearts were heavy. This seemed the only way to keep her safe. As Mina's figure faded into the distance, Matt could no longer hold back his emotions. But the peace did not last. Using his wealth and connections, Tyler secured an early release from prison. That evening, Matt gazed toward the distant shore, thinking of Mina. The boat carrying Mina docked still near the town, though it should have been far away. She sensed danger at once. Before she could react, the boatman grabbed her. Tyler's men swarmed the shore. He seized her by the hair, swearing she would never escape again. He ordered his men to bring their son. Tyler thanked the boatman and paid him. The man had been working for him all along. Tyler's early release was all part of his plan. He forced Mina into a car, taking her to a place no one would find her. Matt waited for Mina's call, unable to deny any longer that his heart belonged to her. Tyler took Mina to a remote village. He told her to prepare for death. "I loved you," he said, "but you left me no choice." In her final moments, Mina begged to say goodbye to her son. When he agreed, she ran to Tony, holding him tightly. "Be brave," she whispered. "Grow up to be a good man, like Matt." She made him promise, though he was young. Tony understood. Then Tyler's men pulled the boy away and dragged Mina off. Matt grew uneasy, sensing something was wrong. He had no idea Mina was fighting for her life. In an old warehouse, while Tyler's back was turned, Mina reached for her phone. He heard the faint ringtone. "It's from outside," she said quickly. Just then, one of his men entered, buying her a few seconds. She answered the call. On the other end, Matt listened closely. When he heard Tyler's voice, his heart turned cold. Tyler ordered Mina to put on a dress the same one she wore when she first met Matt. Pretending to cooperate, She described her location into the phone. Matt memorized every word and ran to his car. Tyler raised his gun for a final goodbye. A gunshot echoed through the phone. Matt's heart shattered. He regretted not going with her. Later, at the arcade, Matt found his friend and explained what happened. Shocked, the friend agreed to help. They tracked down the boatman and forced him to lead them to the warehouse. Matt took down a guard and peered through a gap in the wall. Mina was still alive. Tyler, enraged, fired a shot into the air. He couldn't bring himself to kill the woman he loved. "Why don't you love me?" he screamed. Then he noticed the phone on the floor. "You still think Matt will save you?" He threatened to break every bone in her body. Mina spotted the fallen gun and aimed it at Tyler. But when he dared her to shoot, she couldn't do it. Just then, she saw Matt outside the window. He and his friend took down the guards one by one. They sent the friend's wife to distract the last guard, then moved in and forced him to open the door. Tyler, thinking it was one of his men, yelled at them not to interrupt. Then he heard Matt's voice. The two enemies fought, but Tyler was no match for Matt. Mina stopped him, reminding him that Tyler still had Tony. Matt demanded to know where the boy was, but Tyler refused to answer. His men claimed not to know. Then Mina remembered Emma's men had taken him. Matt shot Tyler non-lethally and took a photo of his injuries. Andy had taken Emma captive. Matt sent her the photo, threatening to kill Tyler if she didn't reveal Tony's location. Seeing her brother beaten and bloody, Emma agreed. Mina looked at Matt, feeling safe in his presence for the first time. He held her close. They had believed they were parted forever. Now they were reunited. Their bond grew stronger. Matt promised to always protect her, but Mina still felt she must go abroad. Andy soon called Tony had been found. He urged Matt to release Tyler, warning that killing him would bring the law down on them all. But Matt would not free Tyler until he saw the boy with his own eyes. That night, Andy brought Tony to them. Relieved, Matt warned his brother to keep Emma away from the child. The next morning, at the edge of town, Mina thanked Matt for everything, but she insisted that once she had her son, she would leave for good. Finally, she told him the truth. The man in the photo was her brother. Matt was angry. "If you had told me earlier, I would never have married someone else." As they spoke, a car arrived to take Tony away, but instead of her son, a body was brought out. A phone rang. Matt answered. It was Tyler. "Meet me at the hotel," he said, "or you'll regret it." Mina grabbed the phone and heard her son's voice. Tyler had hired an expensive private doctor. Andy arrived at the clinic and made a deal with Tyler, his son, in exchange for a recorded confession to the murder of Mina's brother. Shockingly, Tyler agreed, even knowing the video could be used against him. To keep Matt from suspecting, Andy shot himself, then claimed Tyler's men had ambushed him. He kept the video as insurance. At home, Tyler asked Tony about Mina. "Matt is good to her," the boy said honestly. Tyler's face darkened with rage. Matt and Mina hurried to the hotel, passing Emma in the hallway. Upstairs, Tyler was waiting. Mina demanded her son. Matt had to be held back from attacking him. Tyler was prepared. He had proof that Matt had forged Tony's father's signature during Mina's attempted escape. He offered a trade. He would return Tony if Mina became his legal wife. It turned out they had never been formally married. Mina had been coerced. Matt punched Tyler, then left with Mina. Downstairs, Matt checked the security cameras and realized they had just missed Tony. Emma scolded her brother for leaving evidence with Andy, but Tyler believed it was worth the risk. That night, Tony found a phone, pushed open a window, and called the police, but the call was cut short, and the man who took the phone claimed it was a child's prank. Matt's friend at the police station intercepted the call and traced the location. Matt headed there immediately, giving Mina new hope. But when they broke in, Tony wasn't there. Matt had to return home, and Mina's hope faded again. Then Matt thought of Emma. He and his men found her. Knowing she was afraid of the dark, they terrified her into revealing another location. They broke down the door but still no Tony. Earlier, Tony had locked one of his captors in the bathroom and escaped into the forest. He didn't know his mother was searching for him. Walking in the dark, he fell into a deep pit. Matt and Mina searched the woods all night. Tyler and his men arrived, and a fight broke out. Police soon arrived and stopped it. When asked if the boy had been kidnapped, both sides claimed he was only lost. Mina agreed she feared Matt would be charged with forgery. At dawn, they found Tony in the pit. Mina broke down. Matt climbed down and carried the boy to safety. "Did you marry Dad?" Tony asked. He had run away because he was afraid Tyler would hurt Mina again. Hearing this, The three embraced in tears, but Matt's ex-fiancée Julia and her family were outraged by the broken engagement. Matt tried to explain to Julia that their marriage had been one of convenience, without real love. She told him she had loved him since they were children. He returned her ring. Tyler, still vengeful, went to Matt's father-in-law. Together, they plotted against Matt. Julia was so distressed she was hospitalized. Her family now blamed Mina for everything. To protect her, Matt prepared to send Mina and Tony away, but on their way to the car, Julia's sister aimed a gun at them. Mina shielded Matt. Just in time, Matt's brother intervened. As he dealt with the situation, he urged Matt and Mina to leave quickly. Mina begged Matt to let her go. She didn't want to cause more trouble, but he refused. "I'll take responsibility for everything," he said. He assured her she could stay safely in the city. The next day, Andy was denied loans by several banks. Tyler soon learned of this. He also received a restraining order. Mina's lawyer had forbidden him from approaching her. Enraged, he soon devised a new plan. He invited Julia's younger sister, Ruth, to dinner. Impressed by his wealth, she ignored Mina's tragic example. When Tyler sent Mina a video of his date with Ruth, she woke from a nightmare in a cold sweat. He was playing mind games. "Choose any wedding dress you like," he texted. The next day, Mina told Matt everything. He promised to take care of it. Soon, police arrived at Tyler's door with 3 criminal charges. One of the charges involved his father. "This isn't enough to convict you," an officer said, "but we'll be watching." Matt gave Mina a job at the family's sand yard. The steady work gave her life new purpose. And for a while, their lives seemed to stabilize. But unknown to them, the business was falling into debt. After several banks rejected his loan applications, Andy borrowed from a private lender, who worked for Matt's father-in-law. When the man called his boss, Tyler overheard the conversation. He instructed the lender to give Andy the money. Andy received the cash, but on his way home, he was ambushed. The money was stolen, and he was left injured at the foot of a mountain. The cash was delivered to Tyler and the old man. Their revenge had begun. When Andy woke and returned home, Tyler was waiting. He warned Andy that the confession video could only be used to save Matt's life. Even if he was imprisoned, his connections would soon free him. Hearing this, Matt went to the shore, overwhelmed with helplessness. But he wasn't defeated yet. After observing his father-in-law's cargo ship by day, he and his men hijacked it that night. He discovered the old man was an arms dealer. Matt took a case of new guns and went to his father-in-law's home. He forced him to return the stolen money, then threw back 2 stacks as a message. Soon, a lawyer informed Mina that Tyler was seeking custody of Tony. The news filled her with such anxiety she began to see things. But Tyler had more plans. He planted a spy Alice in Mina's life. Alice pretended to be a fellow abuse victim, gaining Mina's trust. Under Tyler's orders, she added a harmful liquid to Mina's water each day, causing nightmares and emotional distress. Though Alice showed traces of guilt and begged Tyler to stop, he threatened her family. She had already been beaten for resisting. One night, as Alice met with Tyler, Matt drove up behind them. Alice hid. Matt knocked Tyler out, put him in his trunk, and drove away. Tyler's men arrived and aimed their guns at Matt, but in the end, they didn't shoot. As Matt drove off with Tyler, one of the men recognized Alice. She was his daughter. At the sand yard, Matt tied Tyler's feet with a cable. Something Tyler said then frightened him. The next day, police arrested Matt. Tyler mocked Mina, saying she had no one left to protect her. Matt's friend demanded to know why he hadn't killed Tyler when he had the chance. "I can't explain yet," Matt said. As police led Matt away for questioning, Mina waited anxiously outside. When she saw Tyler, hatred overwhelmed her. She pointed a gun at him, but he wasn't afraid. He knew she wouldn't shoot. Mina only wanted the gun for protection. Because of the restraining order, Tyler couldn't approach her directly. He invited her inside to talk. A candlelit dinner was waiting. "Matt's freedom is in my hands," he said. "You'll cooperate. I've also filed for custody. The hearing is tomorrow. I will win." Seeing the determination in Mina's eyes, Tyler didn't push further. He sat down and began tapping his cane on the floor. He knew the sound would trigger her. She had heard it daily throughout her pregnancy. 8 years of fear came rushing back. But then, thinking of Matt, Mina's resolve returned. "I'll marry you," she said, believing he had finally won her over. Tyler was deeply moved. He wanted to pick up their son together. Mina pretended to agree and got in the car with him. On the road, she waited until police sirens sounded behind them, then leaned out the window, screaming for help. She told the officers Tyler had kidnapped her. She warned him to drop the charges against Matt or she would send him to prison. In court, when the judge asked Matt if he admitted to the accusations, he confessed to everything. Just as the judge was about to sentence him, Emma received a text. After a quick discussion with her lawyer, all charges against Matt were dismissed. He was free. Mina was overjoyed, but she didn't realize that Alice, still beside her, was the real threat. Looking at a wedding dress, Tyler couldn't understand how the woman he once controlled had slipped from his grasp. Then he thought of Alice. That night, he ordered her to increase the dosage in Mina's water, threatening her with her mother's severed finger. Matt was furious that Mina had risked her life. "What if Tyler had taken you? Your safety is all that matters," she said. "I would die for you." "Never do that again," Matt insisted, but they both knew she would. The next day, Alice again added the drops to Mina's water. To protect her family, she had no choice. As Mina changed clothes, ready to go out, an old man appeared, her father. He was outraged that she had broken off the marriage. Matt stepped between them, shouting that Mina had never been legally married to Tyler. Then her father said something that stunned Matt. "Where we come from, an imam's marriage is binding, if the parents agree. The couple is wed in the eyes of tradition and family law." Mina had refused, but her father had dragged her to Tyler anyway. Matt looked at Mina, conflicted. If she was already Tyler's wife in the eyes of their community, "I am not his wife," Mina cried, confused and torn between tradition and love. Matt needed time to think. He took Tony to school. "There," the boy reassured him, "that man is lying. My mother never married my father." In court, Tyler's lawyer argued that Mina was mentally unstable and unfit for custody. The judge would base his decision on her behavior in the courtroom, though her lawyer objected. Mina was too distressed to answer the judge's questions clearly. The hearing was postponed, and Mina was ordered to undergo a psychological evaluation. After the court session, the group returned to the farm. After some reflection, Matt went to find Mina, but Mina was upset with his attitude during the hearing. "You knew I would never agree to that marriage, yet you walked away," she said. Matt explained, "Hearing that news caught me off guard, but I've always believed in you. Although traditional customs hold weight in our culture, I know the truth of this situation, and I will keep fighting for you and protecting you." Mina looked at him with deep emotion. "I don't know if I deserve you, but I thank heaven for bringing you into my life." Alice took a phone from a drawer and went downstairs to the wooden cabin to pray. The police, who were watching the house around the clock, saw everything. Matt and his brothers had already grown suspicious of her. They had installed a hidden camera in the cabin earlier. They saw the scene clearly, but they still didn't know who Alice was calling. While Alice was away, Matt quickly searched her room. He soon found the hidden bottle of liquid and the phone in a drawer. At first, Mina couldn't believe it, but when she saw the only contact saved in the phone, she was stunned. The woman she had considered a sister was actually Tyler's spy. Worried about Mina's health, Matt took her to the hospital immediately. Fortunately, the liquid only caused nerve numbness. No permanent damage had been done. Matt felt a wave of relief. That evening, Mina stopped an enraged Matt from confronting Alice. She knew he wanted revenge, but her kindness led her to say she was glad Alice was only being coerced, and not another victim of abuse. Matt reluctantly agreed to Mina's request. The next day, Matt's mother spoke with Mina. She revealed that Tyler had asked her to testify in court. "While I may not fully approve of you," she said, "I understand your feelings for Matt. I will testify about how Tyler broke your fingers to help you gain custody. But regarding your relationship with my son, I still have reservations." The day of the custody hearing arrived. Both sides presented heated arguments. When Matt's mother took the stand, she clearly described how Tyler had broken Mina's fingers. Tyler was visibly shocked. He hadn't expected her to change her testimony. Mina's lawyer submitted a report confirming her sound mental health. On the surface, all evidence seemed to favor Mina. Relatives also testified to seeing bruises on her body, though they lacked physical proof. Then, the opposing lawyer attacked Matt's decision to jump off the cliff with Mina and Tony. This severely hurt Mina's case, as it suggested she had endangered her child. Despite Matt's explanations, his defense fell flat. To make matters worse, Mina's father testified, claiming he was responsible for her injuries and willing to face the consequences. In the end, due to the lack of direct evidence against Tyler, and considering Mina had previously placed the child in danger, the judge granted Tyler temporary custody. Mina was allowed only 2 supervised visits per week. Leaving the courthouse, Mina collapsed into Matt's arms. On the day Tony was taken away, he said a tearful goodbye to everyone. Mina encouraged her son never to give up. Matt silently vowed he would not let this stand. For the first time in 8 years, Mina spent the night without her son, unable to sleep. The next day, her lawyer informed her that Tyler had checked out of the hotel with Tony. His whereabouts were now unknown. Mina was initially overwhelmed, but she quickly steadied herself. Knowing Tyler, this was a psychological game to make her lose composure and forfeit her rights. She stopped a furious Matt from acting recklessly. "We will fight him through the law," she insisted. Matt gave her a small knife for protection. That night, and every night after, Mina carved a mark into her door. She was counting down. The 7th mark would be the day she saw her son again. Time passed until she finally made the 7th mark. The next day, she returned to the house of her nightmares. She warned Tyler not to push his luck. Seeing how thin Tony had become broke her heart. She wondered what he had endured. When Matt arrived, he didn't hesitate. He attacked Tyler. Then, carrying Tony, he left with Mina. Matt took them to a small cottage in the mountains. There, they spent 2 peaceful days together. One evening, Mina changed into a beautiful dress. Matt was speechless, captivated by her. They gazed at each other, so lost in the moment they didn't notice their food burning. There were no luxurious mansions here, but in that simple cottage, Tony ate his favorite meal, made by Matt. It turned out that after returning to Tyler, the boy had refused to eat anything else. Though Tyler was cruel, Tony was still his son. He told the boy a story, crying as he spoke. In the end, Tony drank a small glass of milk. Mina's heart ached seeing her son trying so hard to be strong. The next day, everyone gathered together, laughing and talking. A simple soccer ball symbolized their hope for a happy future. But danger was closing in once more. Tyler, Mina's father, and several armed men were watching from the hills. Seeing how many were with Matt, Tyler decided to wait. He left 3 men behind to keep watch. Alice, whose cover was blown, had tried to run, but Tyler's men found her. While Matt was playing with Tony, Mina returned to the cottage to fetch something. The 3 waiting men ambushed her. She fought back, screaming for help. Matt heard her and rushed over, quickly overpowering the attackers. Their goal wasn't to kidnap her, only to take photos they could use in court to damage her reputation. Back home, the family discussed what to do. The only legal option left was for Matt and Mina to marry, strengthening her custody claim. But Mina felt damaged and unworthy of Matt. He insisted he wanted to marry her. Soon, it was time to return Tony to Tyler. Tyler announced that once he had full custody, he would take the boy far away. Matt was so angry he nearly strangled Tyler on the spot. The next day, Tyler went to Matt's mother. He threatened to seize their property unless she handed Mina over. After much thought, she asked her eldest son, Andy, for help to protect the family's reputation and Matt's future. Andy agreed. On the day of the wedding, Andy went to pick up Mina, as was customary. Once she was in the car, he secretly called Tyler. Tyler was waiting at the port, ready to take Mina and Tony abroad, beyond Matt's reach. But Mina noticed nothing until the car headed toward the docks. Unknown to Tyler, Andy had already warned Matt of their mother's request. He cared about the family, but he loved his brother more. Matt explained the plan to Mina. He would take his men to the port, rescue Tony, and return to marry her. Soon, Matt and his armed allies reached the docks, ready for a fight. Tyler and his men were caught off guard. Matt slipped to the back of a car and opened the door. When Tony saw Matt, he cooperated without a sound. Alice spotted Matt. She wanted to go with them, but her family was still held by Tyler. Matt's brother told her to hide until the fighting was over. Just then, Andy's car pulled in. Tyler strode forward, a smug smile on his face. Matt and his men stood ready, but Mina wasn't in the car. "How could I betray my own brother?" Andy said. Tyler realized it was a trap. A fierce battle broke out. Tyler's men fought for money, not loyalty. Matt's group fought with everything they had. Alice confronted Tyler, demanding to know where her family was. "You'll never find them," he told her. In the end, Matt brought Tony safely home. Mina, who had been waiting anxiously, finally relaxed. Their wedding proceeded as planned. Tyler was taken to the police station by Matt's friends. He complained that he belonged in a hospital, not a cell. A detective replied, "How do we know you didn't break your own fingers?" Meanwhile, Matt and Mina were officially married. For now, it was a legal strategy to help win custody of Tony. That night, Mina confessed another truth to Matt. She had given birth to another child. Years ago, after a difficult labor, she was told the baby had died, but Tyler had secretly sent the child away to be hidden. This was the real reason Matt hadn't killed Tyler the night he had already known and was searching for the child. News of the marriage reached Julia, Matt's former fiancée. Tyler used the opportunity to frame Matt for attempted murder. When Julia was found, she was unconscious. The incident shattered any remaining ties between the two families. Matt sneaked into Tyler's home and found Alice still being held captive. She was another victim her family was being used against her. She would rather suffer herself than see them harmed. Unable to free her, Matt retreated. The next day, he used Tony's phone to send Alice instructions. While talking to her father, she deliberately raised her voice so Tyler would hear. Matt had found the location where her mother was being held. Tyler immediately contacted the guards there. He was far more worried about the little girl at that location. While Matt and his friends tracked Tyler's signal from the police station, they pinpointed the hiding place. Matt raced to the location, unaware that his father-in-law was following him. As soon as he arrived, the old man confronted him with a gun. Blinded by grief over his daughter, he shot Matt without listening. Badly wounded, Matt was dragged to a nearby cottage. At the same time, Tyler also reached the area. A servant told him no one had been seen, but he sensed danger. At the foot of the mountain, he found Matt's empty car. Earlier, a young girl had discovered the bleeding, barely conscious Matt inside the cottage. He recognized her instantly. She was Mina's long-lost daughter. But the girl couldn't speak, and she ran off when she saw the stranger. Tyler saw his daughter and signed to her, asking if she had seen anyone. She pointed toward the cottage and indicated the man had a chest wound. Tyler rushed to search the cottage, but Matt was already gone. Tyler's butler had gotten there first and moved Matt to safety. The butler had been forced to serve Tyler because his own family was being held hostage, but he knew Matt was a good man, and after Tyler left, he followed and rescued him. As the butler helped Matt toward the river, Tyler caught up. He stood on the bank, shouting Matt's name in fury. Icy water washed over Matt's wounds as Tyler drew closer. Just then, Tyler was distracted by the sight of Matt's car. The butler had moved it as a decoy, but Matt's condition was worsening. The freezing water sapped his strength until he lost consciousness. Meanwhile, Mina was pointing a gun at Julia's father. Unable to bear the thought of losing Matt, she demanded to know where he was. Tyler, knowing he was exposed, returned for his daughter and fled. The butler searched until he found Matt by the river, barely alive. Matt's friend, worried he couldn't handle things alone, was also on his way. He spotted Matt's car and immediately alerted Mina. After emergency treatment, Matt finally woke up. The family's anxiety eased at last. Tyler bribed a doctor to distract Matt's brother guarding the door. He entered the hospital room and froze. Matt was pointing a gun directly at him. After reassuring Mina, Matt stepped out to negotiate with Tyler. Tyler threatened to expose Mina's past immigration violations. To protect her, Matt had no choice but to yield temporarily. A week later, Matt was discharged from the hospital. His first act was to ask a friend for a crucial favor. That night, Andy's office was burglarized, but the hard drive he treasured was left behind. The next day, he placed it in a private safe deposit box. It contained the evidence Tyler had given him as leverage, but the bank clerk secretly handed the drive to Matt. Matt went to Tyler's mansion. He had his friends take Alice and the two children to safety. Then he warned Tyler to stay away from Mina for good. The next day, Tyler proposed to Ruth. Marrying her would strengthen his case for custody. He also began executing other backup plans. The final custody hearing began. At first, things looked good for Mina. A social worker confirmed Tony was clearly happier with her. But when the parents couldn't agree, the judge let Tony decide. To Mina's shock, the boy said he wanted to live with his father. The courtroom erupted. Before the hearing, Tyler had threatened Tony, "If you don't obey, you'll never see your mother again." That's why the boy answered as he did. The judge granted Tyler full custody. Clutching his mother, Tony whispered, "I'm sorry." The next day, Matt gave his friend the video of Tyler's crimes. The friend knew releasing it would have serious consequences. Matt also knew it could implicate Mina. He made arrangements for certain people to leave the country when the time was right. Meanwhile, Andy learned of his brother's plan from the police. Fearing the worst, he found Tyler's butler. He convinced him to record Tyler in the act of abuse. That night, Tyler took out his rage on Alice once more. Even though his wife was still in Tyler's hands, the butler could take no more. He took out his phone and recorded the evidence. At the same time, during dinner, Matt's brother Harry saw the video of Tyler's crimes. Ruth had once been his girlfriend. He couldn't let her marry a monster, but Ruth refused to listen to his warnings. Angry and desperate, Harry took the video to the police. This time, Tyler's fate was sealed. On his way to meet Andy, the butler was shot in the back. The night before, Tyler had seen his reflection in the window and realized he was being recorded. He coldly informed the butler that his wife was already dead. When Andy arrived at the meeting point, the butler wasn't there. He didn't know a trap was waiting. Tyler and Ruth's wedding went ahead as scheduled. At the same time, police sped toward Tyler's home, but Tyler received a text and fled in a hurry. Harry, who was watching the door, saw this and immediately gave chase in his car. When police arrived at Tyler's house, he was already gone. Harry informed his brother that he was following Tyler's car. Matt got the news and drove off immediately. The situation was critical, but Harry's car got a flat tire on the way. Luckily, Matt arrived in time to pick him up. At the docks, Tyler hurriedly led the two children onto a boat. Matt chased closely and jumped onto the boat after him. He punched Tyler, sending him stumbling, but Matt hadn't fully recovered from his injuries, and Tyler quickly gained the upper hand. The pain from his wound made it hard for Matt to fight back. As the yacht started moving, Matt kicked Tyler to the deck. In this critical moment, Matt had to choose between Tony and the girl. After a brief moment of thought, he immediately grabbed Tony and jumped overboard. Meanwhile, as Andy was driving away with Mina, police stopped them. The body of Butler Lee was discovered in the trunk of their car. Andy now had no way to explain. Tyler, after his crime was exposed, had already escaped beforehand. His men had prepared a car and a phone for him. Tyler took his hungry daughter to a gas station. To his surprise, all his bank cards were frozen. He saw police outside and panicked. Late at night, he fled with his daughter into a dark forest. He touched his daughter's stomach and signed for her to endure the hunger a little longer. In prison, Matt met with his older brother to discuss the situation. All the current evidence was against Andy. Matt could not stand by and watch his brother go to jail. He went alone to Tyler's villa, where some guards remained. Matt threatened them with a grenade and forced them to reveal important information. Tyler and his daughter searched for a way out in the forest. One could say the pitiable have their own hateful aspects, but the way he protected his daughter showed a father's responsibility. He would rather fall himself than let his daughter get hurt. Wandering around, they ended up stealing tomatoes from a farm to ease their hunger. That evening, police found the body of Tyler's sister, Emma, on the beach. During the day, Emma knew her brother's crimes were exposed and she would be implicated. She could not continue down this wrong path and chose to end her life. Penniless, Tyler hitched a ride on a passing truck. He rode in the back, sitting on a load of animal manure, and returned to the town. He couldn't go back to his villa, so he went to see his newlywed wife, Ruth. Her father tried to throw him out, but when the old man saw the little girl, he understood this was Nina's daughter. It turned out that days earlier, Matt had made a deal with Tyler, offering his freedom as a condition. They would use the father-in-law's connections to get Mina and the four of them out of the country. But Matt hadn't expected his brother would get into trouble. When Tyler found out, he left with his daughter in a hurry. Meanwhile, Mina called Matt outside. She said she couldn't let her selfishness leave Matt alone. The next day, Matt and his family went to the police station. Although he had gotten some information from Tyler's men, it wasn't enough to free Andy yet. Andy told his brother to take good care of Mina and the child on their journey. The time came for the family to say goodbye. Mina thanked them for all their help and said she would always remember their kindness. Matt and his friend drove to the docks. Mina and her son hid in the trunk, just like when they first met. But this time, they carried the hope for a happy future. They soon reached the docks, but they didn't know that Tyler was already hiding on the boat. He had doused the boat in gasoline and threatened Matt with a lighter, saying they would all die together. He also revealed that the little girl was Mina's biological daughter. Years ago, Mina had a difficult childbirth in harsh conditions and gave birth to a second child. She thought the baby had died, but Tyler took the child and had top doctors save her. Matt knew that if Mina learned the truth, she would compromise with Tyler for the child's sake. By now, Tyler had gone completely mad. He ordered Mina to tie up Matt's hands and feet. He forced Mina to choose, die together, or push Matt into the sea. Not wanting Mina to struggle with the choice, Matt resolutely jumped into the sea. Luckily, he had the small knife Mina had secretly slipped to him. Being a good swimmer, Matt soon surfaced. Mina saw he was safe and felt relieved. Matt waited secretly under the boat. Mina stood at the bow. she would never return to her old life. At the last moment, she pulled Tyler into the sea with her. Matt quickly moved closer and fought Tyler in the water. Meanwhile, in the cabin, Tony helped Matt's friend untie his ropes. Matt told his friend to get Mina to shore first. Just then, Tyler's men arrived and captured Matt, pulling him onto their boat. Tyler wanted Matt to die with the boat at the bottom of the sea, but Matt knocked out the thug with a reverse blow and quickly untied himself. Tyler took Mina onto a small boat, declaring himself the winner. Mina looked up and saw Matt on the boat. Their eyes met and she understood instantly. Matt's brothers were also on their way. Matt dove underwater and used his belt to tangle the small boat's propeller. His friends seized the chance to surface and pulled one of the thugs into the water. Tyler saw this and started shooting into the water. The impact of the bullets made Matt gasp bubbles. The pain was unbearable. While Tyler was watching the water, Matt quickly surged out and pulled him under. In the water, Tyler was no match for Matt. Finally, Matt slammed Tyler's head into the propeller. Tyler sank into the dark sea. Matt's brothers arrived and rescued them onto their boat. By the time they returned home, their older brother Andy had also been released from prison. It turned out a police friend had found another person's fingerprints, and the real culprit had confessed. Andy walked home with confident strides. Tyler was rescued by a passing fisherman and brought ashore. The appearance of a mysterious man shattered the peace. Mina fell into Matt's arms, anxious and fearful because Tyler's body had not been found. Matt comforted her, saying the chance of Tyler surviving was very small. Tyler sought out his former mentor, borrowing his power for revenge. The belief in getting back at Matt drove his daily rehabilitation training. A month later, fully recovered, he contacted his mentor. That night, Andy received a call saying the sand yard was on fire. All the men in the family rushed over. Soon, a group of men broke into the house and kidnapped the pregnant Mona. This was all part of Tyler's plan. When Matt and the others arrived at the sand yard, they found no sign of any fire. It wasn't until Mina called that they realized something had happened. Tyler held a dagger against Mona's 9-month pregnant belly, recording a video which he sent to Andy. When Andy and the others rushed home, they received a call from Tyler. He had only 2 conditions for releasing Mona. Andy must tell the police the video was fake, and Mina must give up custody of the child. After the call, Tyler threw the phone into the sea. Andy confronted his brother. "Didn't you say Tyler sank to the bottom of the sea?" Even Matt was shocked by the man's tenacity. To save his wife, Andy made a deal with Tyler. After getting the location, he and Matt quickly went to a cabin on the cliff, but it was empty inside. Meanwhile, Tyler invited Mina to his home to watch a show. Watching the 2 panicked men on the monitor, Tyler smiled triumphantly. He told Mina to watch quietly as he performed. Tyler told Andy to kill Matt, and he would let his wife go. Mina reached for something in her bag, but seeing the monitor, she put it back. Faced with Tyler's threats, Matt and Andy felt helpless. Matt comforted his brother, telling him not to hold back, that he was willing to sacrifice himself. A gunshot rang out, and Matt fell to the ground. Mina was heartbroken beyond words, facing the loss of her lover. She was no longer weak. Without hesitation, she raised her gun and aimed at Tyler. Tyler didn't believe Mina would shoot. He knew her weakness all too well. But he had forgotten one thing: Matt was Mina's true love. The moment Mina lowered her gun, Tyler turned away smugly. But in the next second, Mina firmly pulled the trigger. Soon, Tyler's mentor and his men arrived and restrained Mina. Elsewhere, Andy found his wife inside a box in the very same cabin. Mona had been with them all along. It was all a play orchestrated by Tyler to pit the brothers against each other. To Andy's surprise, his brother wasn't dead, just stunned by the bullet's impact. It turned out their friend had anticipated a trap and made Matt wear a bulletproof vest. After much difficulty, they got Mona to the hospital. By the time police arrived at the villa, the scene had been completely cleaned up. They only found Mina tied to the bed upstairs. She had been knocked unconscious and didn't know what happened. In truth, Tyler wasn't dead either. His mentor had taken him home for treatment. A month later, life returned to normal for Matt and the others. The family gathered together, talking and laughing, but they didn't know danger was quietly approaching. That evening, the family learned that Matt and Mina's previous wedding was only to win the court case. This time, they would prepare a proper wedding ceremony for them. But Mina was still haunted by the 8-year-long nightmare. She felt anxious and fearful, afraid that her current happiness was just an illusion. As the two talked, a sniper rifle aimed at them from the darkness of the forest. Tyler had Matt in his sights. The moment he fired, Mina threw herself in front of Matt. Matt rushed Mina to the hospital. He hadn't expected Tyler to still be pursuing them. After shaking off the pursuit, he reached the hospital. Filled with deep regret, family members waited outside the hospital room, praying silently for Mina. After 48 hours of emergency treatment, Mina was out of danger but remained unconscious. Matt had only one request: he would pay any price for Mina to wake up. The next day, Matt located Tyler. He chased him down and intercepted him in a tunnel. Facing his enemy this time, he would not hold back. Tyler died without ever understanding where he had gone wrong. Months later, Mona told Mina that a wedding should not be rushed. She took Mina to choose a wedding dress. That evening, Mina looked stunning in a pink gown. Facing the captivated gazes of everyone, she felt a little unsure. Matt was beyond words. He took out a sparkling diamond ring and poured out his deepest feelings. They pledged their lives to each other there. Soon, the wedding was held. The two had overcome countless hardships and broken through constraints, finally finding happiness. Family members gathered together to witness their union. In the years that followed, they had another child together. Here, the story concludes. Thank you for your support and for watching.